Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivakacharya Saraswati Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Asa Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivakacharya Saraswati Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda. Hari Hari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Tina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada, today's verse 43 of chapter 6, Jnana Yoga. So, please repeat. Tatra buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate cha tato bhūyaḥ saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana tatra buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate cha tato bhūyaḥ saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana tatra buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate tato bhūyaḥ saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana
tatra buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate cha tato bhūyaḥ saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana
tatra buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate cha tato bhūyaḥ saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana
tatra buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate tato bhūyaḥ
yatate tato bhūyaḥ
saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana.
saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana.
So, word for Matatis, Vaishnavis. Tatratam buddhi-saṁyogam.
labhate paurva-dehikam
labhate paurva-dehikam
yatate tato bhūyaḥ
Bhūyaḥ.
saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana
Saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana.
tatratam buddhi-saṁyogam
Tatratam buddhi-saṁyogam.
labhate
Labhate paurva-dehikam. Yatate tato bhūyaḥ. Saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana. Okay, word for word. Chapter 6:43, Gita. Tatra, thereupon. Tam, that. Buddhi-saṁyogam,
buddhi-saṁyogam.
revival of consciousness. Labhate, gains. Paurva-dehikam,
paurva-dehikam.
from the previous body.
From the previous body.
Yatate, he endeavors.
He endeavors.
Cha, also. Tataḥ,
Tataḥ.
thereafter.
Thereafter.
Bhūyaḥ,
Bhūyaḥ.
again. Saṁsiddhau,
Saṁsiddhau.
for perfection.
For perfection.
Kuru-nanda,
Kuru-nandana.
O son of Kuru.
O son of Kuru.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. Please repeat. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. Purport, Srila Prabhupada. King Bhārata, who took his third birth in the family of a good brāhmaṇa, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bhārata was the emperor of the world, and since his time this planet has been known among the demigods as Vārata-varṣa. Formerly it was known as Ilāvṛta-varṣa. The emperor at an early age retired for spiritual perfection but failed to achieve success. In his next life he took birth in the family of a good brāhmaṇa. That's his next human life. He took a birth in between as a deer and was known as Jaḍa Bharata because he was always remaining secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahūgaṇa. From his life it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Mukam karoci vācālam pangam laite girim yad kripa tamam vande Shri Guru Didatarinam tatratam buddhi-saṁyogam labhate paurva-dehikam yatate tato bhūyaḥ saṁsiddhau kuru-nandana. So, on taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. So, yes, the first phrase here, on taking such a birth. So what is that such a birth? As you all know probably, the question was asked. Arjuna asked, what about somebody, this difficult yoga of meditation and austerity, kaivalya, what happens if somebody doesn't complete the course? He's given up material life to some extent and he's not achieved perfection. So what happens? Is he like a cloud that just disappears in the sky? So Kṛṣṇa says, no. A transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities doing sadhana, yetam mam prapadyante. It may be karma yoga, it may be jnana yoga, it may be kaivalya yoga, astanga yoga, it may be bhakti yoga, it may be some form of, what does Kṛṣṇa say? Mahatmanastamam patha devim prakritim ashrita. That, what is that? 1 out of thousands? Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatate siddhaye. Yatatam api siddhanam kaschimam veditatpada. So 1 out of thousands, we know that, especially in Kali Yuga, may actually try for perfection. But now we see that half of India is trying for perfection. So that's about 500 million people. They're coming here every day to Vrindavan and getting on 1 million tom-toms. So India, it's not 1 out of 1,000, it's 1 out of anyway, we'll not develop that point. But the point is, in India, people are chanting. When I first came to India, 73, you never saw anyone carrying a bead bag. You just never saw it, right? But now everyone is going around, the Delhi wala, the Lucknow wala, the business people, the shopman, they're chewing pan but chanting. So what happens to somebody who is chanting, doing something, but somehow or other, because of worldly mindedness, we talked about it, material conditioning, he has some problem. So Kṛṣṇa gives the answer. Don't worry, Arjuna, because that's very pertinent. That's why I said at the beginning of the class, this is very exciting, because first point is that Kṛṣṇa is very merciful. He doesn't think, as a materialist, a nasty materialist might think, oh, you didn't do the whole course, so go. You didn't complete the university course, so you don't get your degree. No, Kṛṣṇa will always take you back. And so this is very exciting. And then you will achieve perfection, which is hinted at here. O son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction like that cloud that disappears in the sky, or in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So good there, Kṛṣṇa is referring to sadhana, some kind of inquiry, a tato brahma jignas, into the absolute truth. So anyone that's on that path, there's another verse, isn't there? Nahabrakama shasnohi pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatobayat. Kṛṣṇa says, a little advancement on this path never goes in vain. And it will save you trayate mahobhayat. What is that great fear? The great fear is that you don't come back in a human form, but you go down into the lower modes, and you may spend many, many, many lifetimes in animal species. But Kṛṣṇa says, don't worry about that, Arjuna. Anyone who does good, their good is eternal. Your sadhana is eternal. Your chanting is eternal. Your study of the Gita is eternal. We've made this point many times. We should understand that whatever realization we have, like you may be sitting in the japa period, oh, I just had a realization. So that realization is your permanent asset. If you realize Kṛṣṇa, it's your permanent asset. And it is guaranteed by Kṛṣṇa. There is a discussion, Guru de Puran, that Yamaraj has one accountant, Chitragupta. He is keeping a record, a Akashic record or whatever, of all the activities of every individual soul. So Kṛṣṇa is keeping his record of his devotees. So even if they have a problem and they don't reach perfection, Kṛṣṇa will make this arrangement. You won't be overcome by evil because your activities are eternal, they are permanent, and I will protect you. If you surrender to me, I will protect you. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of pious entities, that means up there, Svargaloka, is born into a family of righteous people. That's the first one, righteous people. That means good people, not bank robbers or pickpockets or professional thieves, right? Or politicians. But so a family of righteous people, or into a family of rich autocracy. So a cultured family that has got money. So in the Purport, Prabhupada explains that's good, because if you're under too much pressure of poverty and trying to get a loaf of bread or a chapati, you're sideline spiritual activity. But if you're in a reasonably wealthy family, then your material anxiety is less and you have more time. Maybe you'll get educated, you'll go to the college, you'll go to the library, you'll meet sadhus, you'll have time. But if you're very poor, you may just be struggling just like in a terrible way. So, righteous people or rich autocracy. And then, or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, the transcendentalist takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists. So if you've done a lot of practice of yoga, you've got a good guru, you've studied the Shastra, you've learned Siddhanta, you've been following Ekadashi, you've been doing this and that. So then you will go to a family where that is the practice. So, who are surely great in wisdom, a family of transcendentalists. Indeed, such a birth is very rare. Yes, why? Because transcendentalists are rare. The problem with transcendentalists is, as regards the material world, is they're always going to the spiritual world. As soon as they become developed spiritually, they go to Goloka or Haridam. On taking such a birth with the transcendentalist, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress to achieve complete success. So this is relevant to the spirit, right? The transcendentalist, he will revive his attraction for a tato brahma jignas, inquiry into the Supreme. And he will automatically try to make progress, because Brahma, the Supreme, is all attractive. So you revive the consciousness of your previous life. We should understand that nicely, that revive the consciousness, it's not independent. Kṛṣṇa is the background of everything. In the Shastra you will find that material world, the creation here, is scientific, logical, chemical, biological, and so on, but it's also mystical. Meaning, you can measure time, you can measure atoms and molecules, and you can measure it tomorrow and everything, and it'll still be the same, basically. So it's scientifically and logical. But it is resting upon the Supreme Lord. Just like everything, all the lights in this room, the electricity, it's resting on the power station. So there is limited function here, but the power station, for our imagination we can say, can supply endless power. So just like the sun, you may measure the sunlight and measure the temperature and the power of the photons and so on, but can you understand the mystical aspect of the sun? Why is the sun there? Why is there a sun? Why are there electrons and molecules? Why is there a creation at all? Why is the creation in this way and not that way? So that is because the mystical aspect is Purusha. Vedic Siddhanta is Purusha Prakriti. Purusha means the source, and Prakriti means the energy, the energetic and the energetic, the sun and the sunlight. So Purusha is beyond mathematical formula, beyond material logic. For example, Kṛṣṇa lifted Govardhan hill 7 days on his finger. Of course, there's a rumor that Nanda Maharaj was helping. But how can Kṛṣṇa do that? Because he is the manipulator of all these laws of gravity and so on and so forth. He's not bound by it. He's not bound by logic and argument. He can, like in the Raslila, he extended the night of the Raslila dance to one night of Lord Brahma. So how is that possible? Because he is Purusha. He is Achintya. That is the word, Achintya Vedate. What does Achintya mean? It means beyond material conception. So Kṛṣṇa is the background, and it says here that the devotee revives his divine consciousness of his previous life. That means under the supervision of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa knows. Also, you have a certain development. Prabhupada gives the example of 50%, 51%, that spiritual life is like developing to 100%. This is to help us understand. So if you go to 50%, then in your next life you'll start from that point and you'll go to, you won't start from zero. So that's why I say it's exciting. Oh, we never lose anything. It's like a bank account that you live off the interest eternally. So you keep your realizations, and this is revived by Kṛṣṇa. And therefore you see that, like for instance, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he took a vow to take 1 billion names in Mayapur. 1 billion, he did it in 9 years, I believe. His plan was 10 years. So how did he get this inspiration? That is spiritual, but also materially, like Mozart. He was playing the piano like anything and writing symphonies when he was 7 years old, right? So everything from the past life is recorded physically, akashically, or whatever way you wanted it, within the mind of Paramatma, and he revives the consciousness. He brings that. And so, and therefore if you talk to devotees, you will often hear them say, yes, I was this, I was doing, and then suddenly one day I had the thought, right, like this. They suddenly have some revelation, or one night they're looking at the moon and they get some realization that spiritual life is the real purpose of human life, and so on and so forth. So Kṛṣṇa revives it through the devotee. It says here, the devotee revives his consciousness, but we understand that everything is resting upon Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is the background of everything. He's the foundation. He's the root. So he revives the consciousness, and the devotee thinks, yeah, I'm going to start chanting again and this and that. It may happen in this life. Sometimes devotees have a dip, then they come back and they start chanting again. Progress to make complete success. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. So he's not really looking for, he may be a young man, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then suddenly he's in a book, in a bookshop, a second-hand bookshop, and he sees yoga, Patanjali's yoga. That's yoga? What's that? That's interesting. And he opens the book and he says, if you always speak the truth, you will know the truth. That is one of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So we think, wow, that's far out. If I stop juggling words but speak the truth, then the truth will come to me. So he'll get all this, he'll become automatically interested in the yoga principles. Even without seeking them, they come to him. Everything is the arrangement of Kṛṣṇa. Such ultimately, but our will, Kṛṣṇa is eko yo didadati karma. He's fulfilling our desire also. So it's a, as they say nowadays, it's a matrix of our desire, our karma phal, aparabdha karma, so on, and Krishna's supervision, everything is there. And the conscious living entity is thinking, yeah, what shall I do? Well, I'm going to chant Hare Krishna. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Now this point you will find throughout the Vedas. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist. See, Prabhupada's translation. That means somebody is inquisitive, interested, but not in mundane morality or mundane politics. You know, people on a lesser developed state of consciousness thinks, oh, we have to change the political system and then everything will be okay. You know, but the transcendentalist, the politics is there. And so an inquisitive transcendentalist, that means his mind is going to, there's something spiritual behind everything, just like I say. There is some achintya shakti, there is some supreme Lord who is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. He knows everything. I read about it. I think there's something like that. So that is a transcendentalist. But many people, especially in Kali Yuga, they have manodharma, man-made religion. There is some tribe in the Middle East or something, and they have some traditions and some history, and they have a mixture, and they develop it over thousands of years, and then they say, this is the word of God that we have created. We're not God, but we created the word of God. There's something like that. So then you get ritualistic, you go to church on this day, or you go to the mosque on this day, you go to the synagogue in this day, you follow this ritual, you tie your hair like this, you believe this. So it's a ritualistic idea. So that's there in the Vedas also. People think, holy, or Deepawali. I'm going to put on my best clothes, I'm going to light a lamp on the roof, and then Lakshmi Devi will come here and get some money. So they think in a ritualistic way. I'll do something and I'll get something in return. Many times people, they do that in religion. It's like a job. I go to the factory, I get my salary, so I go to the church and I get something from God. So they think there's this kind of ritualism idea. But bhakti, a transcendentalist who's been enlightened, bhakti mam abhijanati. What is bhakti? You know Krishna through bhakti. Bhakti is anyabhilasita sunyam. No material hankering. Jnana kamadi anavritam. Your impetus isn't to get liberation or material fruit. You're interested in Krishna personally. And that's the only real form of bhakti. Otherwise, it is kind of ritualized, a karmavad or jnanavad, mental speculation. You haven't really grasped bhakti. What is bhakti? In the material world, people are always ceaselessly trying to get some sense gratification through their plans. But bhakti means you're ceaselessly serving the Guru and Krishna. From morning to night, the materialist from morning to night is serving his senses, his speculation on how to enjoy. But the transcendentalist is just thinking, now I take bath, I put tilak, and then I do the puja, then I do my meditation, then I do the chanting, and I have my job, but I'm going to do it as an offering to Krishna. So he's always ceaselessly focused on offering everything to Krishna. What's that verse? Yad karosi yadadnosi yadadasi dadasya. He's always thinking, so he's a transcendentalist. He's not looking for a material fruit. He's thinking, I'll get satisfaction by pleasing the Guru. I'll do it for Krishna. And that's his pleasure. And that is love. That is prema. That is bhakti. That you're not doing it for some return, but you're doing it because that is your feeling, your heart, your purity. So, that is a transcendentalist, and they are above people that perform karma yoga or rituals where they can get something from the demigods or this and that. That is very... And there Krishna says they're hrita-gyan. That means they've got no real intelligence in their situation, and they are just, hrita-gyan, and their fruit is limited and temporary, it's material. And when a yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor, there's a good word there, sincere. Let's see what it says here. By rigid practice. Yeah, Prabhupada, there's sincere. Yeah. Then all the contaminations come off. When the consciousness is clear, then you can realize Kṛṣṇa very easily. But because Kṛṣṇa is pure consciousness, you can think of Kṛṣṇa in that way. And so to realize Kṛṣṇa, you must be pure. Just like if you want to be a musician, you should know how to sing in tune with the other instruments. You know how you have to play the right rhythm with the other people in the band, you have to sing in key, you have to tune your guitar right. So if you're tone deaf, it's very hard to join in with music. You can listen, you can take instruction, but a devotee, he's tuned to Kṛṣṇa. He's tuned already. So he can realize Kṛṣṇa from his position of purity. Just like a musician, a developed musician can listen to music and, oh, that's key of D, and the rhythm is this, and it's going on this, oh, that's going on, well, that's interesting. He can judge the music because he has developed music. So the devotee is developed spiritually, can see Kṛṣṇa, can hear Kṛṣṇa, can commune with Kṛṣṇa, can take instruction from Kṛṣṇa. And that becomes his happiness, because he feels the presence of Kṛṣṇa in the chanting Harinam. He feels Kṛṣṇa when he's chanting, when he's serving, when he's doing puja, so on and so forth. So that is his happiness. So he becomes sincere, he becomes purified, washed of all contamination, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. Now that's many, many births. But we should always remember, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in Harinam Chintamani, 13th chapter, he says something very important. He says, a devotee can go for many lifetimes, taking birth in a devotee family, chanting, getting diksha, going here and there, going to the holy place, this and that. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but not really reaching perfection. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, so then he will stay in the association of devotees. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, but if he decides, sincere endeavor, this is called Ridabhalyam, determination, sankalp, he decides, I'm going to go back to Godhead now. I've got everything. I've got the mantra. I've got the books. I've got the Dharma. Now let me perform austerity and develop. Let me take advantage. Prabhupada says like that. Take advantage of this Krishna conscious new movement. He's saying like that. That doesn't mean to say as a free hotel, but as a place to perform sadhana in the association of devotees. That's the purpose of ISKCON. To be a station where people go back to Godhead. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, anybody who becomes determined, he can go back home, back to Godhead. But it may take many lives to get that determination, but sadhusanga, sarva-shastra-oil, lavamata, sadhusanga. If you get touched, you get the mercy, you serve a great pure devotee, you may just get that inspiration. Therefore, Suddha Bhakata Charana Renu, right? Service to the lotus feet of the pure devotees is the root of the creeper of devotion. So we should always remember that. If you want to go back home, back to Godhead, get yourself a bona fide spiritual master, take diksha from him, follow his instructions to the letter, and even if you have a problem, keep going, you'll go back to Godhead in one lifetime. Yatam mam prapadyante. All of them, as they surrender, are reward accordingly. So Kṛṣṇa is giving in the heart inspiration, do this, do that, but he's not forcing. Just like he does that to the materialist. Don't rob the bank. Don't be a criminal. The police will catch you. So he's giving instruction to everyone in Paramatma, but he's not forcing. So he does that to devotees. Now get it together. Come on now. Follow Ekadashi nicely. Follow the holy days. Associate nicely. Chant Hare Krishna. Learn Siddhanta. Go back to Godhead. Right? In one lifetime. Now just imagine, all of us, we could all be about 50, 60 years maximum apart from eternal life. Right? Just you have to become... That doesn't apply just to Jaḍa Bharata or Dhruva Maharaj. It applies to you and me. We should think, yeah, I have a chance. And so the story is there of Maharaj Bharata, right? He left the kingdom. He went to the holy forest. He was chanting. But then he was almost on Bhava Bhakti, but he developed affection for a foal, a baby deer. So he became a foal in his next life. But then, as a foal, it's explained in the Bhagavatam, he still maintained his high level of bhava, of almost bhava bhakti. And he used to sit with the sages in the forest, it's explained. And the sages knew, this is Maharaj Bharata. But because of attachment to a deer, he's become a deer. Now he's coming to hear our Kṛṣṇa Katha. This is it. So then he was born again as Jaḍa Bharata. Jad means dull. But as Prabhupada said in the Purport, that he would not engage with other people. He would remain silent. He had blinkers on. Also, another good example is Dhruva. Dhruva heard, in the forest you can meet Kṛṣṇa. So he went there. I'm going to see Kṛṣṇa. So Narada Muni came, initiated him. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaḍa Bharata. So we must be Dhruva, fixed. And we must also be not distracted. Like they put on the horse, right? So the horse doesn't become distracted, it just goes forward. So Jaḍa Bharata is like that. I'm not going to get... But then Maharaj Rahūgaṇa, he enlisted him to carry the palanquin. But then Jaḍa Bharata was, not doing it properly, trying to avoid standing on the poor ants. And then Maharaj, who are you doing? Well, I'm the king round here, and you're jumping around side to side. Who do you think you are? Like this, and his big heavy men. And then Maharaj spoke spiritual knowledge to him. It's in the Bhagavatam. And then Maharaj, oh dear, I'm not scared of Indra's trident, Indra's thunderbolt, Lord Shiva's trident, but I'm very terrified of offending a Vaishnava. Yes, so there's a good teaching in that if you offend Vaishnavas deliberately, particularly, maliciously, then you are going to have problems in the future. Because what? Hridayam Mayam. Kṛṣṇa explains, the saints, the sadhus are my heart. Only I am in their heart, and they know no one but me, and I know no one but them. So you can mess around here and there, but don't mess with the sadhu. Kṛṣṇa will be upset. So the sadhu is Mahatsevam Dwara Maho Vimukta. He's the medium. So that's a very important thing. So of course Maharaj Paruga spoke to him roughly, but he's a sadhu, so he gave spiritual knowledge, and so then everything was settled up. So this is a very important point, that this whole section here, and the Bhagavatam gives this, and because it says here, you see that tatra buddhi-saṁyogam. So this is coming up to today's verse. Right? Yeah, we've already done that, 43. So we're going on, and then Kṛṣṇa explains that they have so he's falling down because he's not perfected. That means sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means vaidhi bhakti and raganuga bhakti. Vaidhi means follow all the vidhi. But within that, develop rag, attraction to Kṛṣṇa. That is ragamarg. So that is in pancharatriki vidhi. You worship the deity, but you do it with rag. And so that creates bhava. And that gives liberation and direct realization of Krishna bhava. And then that leads to prema. So sadhana bhakti is often called buddhi yoga, because you're not at bhava, you're not doing bhakti because of love or awakening love, but you're doing it because your mind, your buddhi, your intelligence is awakened, and you think, this is where my interest lies, I should be. But however, because you're not perfect, you can fall down from vaidhi bhakti or even raganuga sadhana. And one of the main reasons can be aparad, Vaishnava aparad. There are 4 anarthas. Bhaktivinoda explains them. 4 categories of anartha. This is in Jaiva Dharma. First one is Swarupya Abramya. You don't know Siddhanta. You don't know Prayojan Tattva. You don't know the nature of the spiritual world. You don't know Krishna very well. You don't know your own spiritual nature. You don't know how it is. That means your Siddhanta is not developed. You may have some good ideas, but you're not situated in your Swarup. The Swarup is not strongly developed. So then you can easily fall back into your material conception of yourself and act for the material body. So that is number 1 problem. Second one is, asatrista. That means hankering for mundane things. Because like that is the reason. I don't know my spiritual nature very well, I'm not realized, but so I start to hanker. I become a devotee and think, I want to be a big man in here, I want followers, I want position, I want this and that, and and you start to develop material weeds, or you may go back to the material world. So that is asatrista. Asat means the non-eternal, the material. Trista, you're hankering for it. We talked about this last week. Then the third one is aparad. These anarthas, they can cause the transcendentalist or the saṁsiddhau, the buddhi yogi, to weaken his behavior. So there's 4 types of aparad. Yes, dharma aparad, nam aparad, seva aparad to the murti, and then Vaishnava aparad. So they are more serious. Dharma aparad, that is serious, you should behave nicely in the Dharma. Nam aparad, you can overcome that by practice and so on, good instruction. Then seva aparad, if you are a pujari and you're not doing your seva nicely, shalagram or so on, that's more serious. And then final one, Vaishnava aparad. That means a liberated Vaishnava situated in bhava and prema. If you make trouble or you become negative or so on, and that can switch off your endeavor temporarily. So they're the 4 anarthas. So they are prevalent in the period of sadhana. So we should know them. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he explains the sadhaka, the buddhi yoga, he should make a list. And he says, make a list of things that you're not doing right, without being depressed. I eat too much. I criticize unnecessarily. I don't finish my rounds every day. I'm missing my Gayatri. I'm taking mundane food. I'm wasting time. This is what Bhakti Vinod, he says, make a list like this, and then one by one, mundane food. I'm not going to buy this food, I'm going to cook it myself and offer it to Kṛṣṇa. You understand? So one by one, you make a list of your anarthas, weak practice, and you go through the line. Just like one devotee sent me a message today, he said, I'm not going to take sugar. I've finished with sugar. So that's very good for health. So the thing is, we make a list of things and don't feel bad. Oh, I'm not a perfect Vaishnava. This is the whole point here. Kṛṣṇa is very merciful. He's taking you back to Godhead. So then you will attain, and that endeavor is your perfection. The perfection is in your endeavor. Everyone in the spiritual world is endeavoring to please Guru Kṛṣṇa and all the devotees, Gaurnitai. That it is in that mood of endeavor to serve Gopi Bhata Kamalayodas. That is perfection. The mood. So this is very important. So, and then, right, we've gone past it actually, yes. And then number 47 is the last. Yoginam api sarvesham, of all yogis, madgatain antaratmana. The person who within himself is always thinking about me. Gatin is concentrated on me. Shraddhavam bhajate yomam. He's Shraddhavan. Why? He's possessor of faith. Why? Because he's experiencing Kṛṣṇa. We're not a belief system. We're talking about manudharma, man-made religion. You'll find the tendency in man-made religion is you have to have faith. You have to believe in this prophet. You have to believe in this book. And then you'll be successful. Oh, but the book's a bit funny, and that person, there's funny stories about him. So, yoga is an experience-based system. It is not a belief-based system. So when it says Shraddhavan here, it means one who possesses faith through experience, not through some kind of mental brainwashing. You should believe this, you should believe that. If you believe this, you're okay. And they're all with the devil. We're with the devil. We're with God, and they're all with the devil. You know, you get this dualistic, man-made religion. If you're not with me, I'm going to kill you. Oh, that's very religious. You're a nice person. So this is man-made religion. But nobody makes any progress with this. So, Shraddhavam bhajate yomam, they worship Kṛṣṇa. Bhajate means upasana. It means worship. Worship. Out of love, admiration, respect, out of enthrallment. There are many reasons for worship. Just like the stupid people say, oh, the Hindus, they worship the cow. They think the cow is God. No, we respect the cow because she's one of the 7 mothers. And everything is God ultimately. It is the energy of God. So why don't you have some respect for the environment? You're slaughtering the cow. You're slaughtering your own children in your womb through abortion. You're putting pollution into the rivers, turning the air into unbreathable mess. And you criticize us because we respect the cow? You're a donkey. Well, we have to respect you even though you're a donkey. So this is a very important point. Don't be a mudha. Learn a little reverence for your creation, Krishna's creation, for your own self, for your other people. Have some upasana, bhajate yomam. We discussed this a few classes ago. that Kṛṣṇa says the best way to realize me is in the heart of all living entities. You remember that class? You were here 3 weeks ago? Yes. And renders transcendental loving. He thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is most intimately united with me in yoga and is highest of all. That is my opinion. That's Supreme Court. So, these are important points. But like I said at the beginning, this is very exciting because, yes, we're going to have some problems, but keep going. There's a nice, one of my favorite stories of Prabhupada. We'll finish on this. And it was one of his servants. It was in the early days. And he was Prabhupada's personal servant, cooking for Prabhupada and doing this and that. So one day he just disappeared. And where's, I won't say his name, because of embarrassment maybe, but where is it? I don't know, Prabhupada just went, this and that, he just suddenly disappeared. So 6 months later he came back. And he said, oh Prabhupada, I lost control of my senses. And I just went back to sense gratification. But now I've realized my mistake. I want to, please forgive me. Prabhupada said, you make good rasgulas, I remember. Go to the kitchen and make me some rasgula. That's all Prabhupada said. There was no big inquisition why you fell down, you took vows, I told you, said this. There was no chastisement. He just immediately re-engaged his disciple in his service. You see? There was no big overblown, you're a this, you're a that, I don't like you. No, Prabhupada just said, make some rasgula. Which is perfectly valid way to behave. Srila Prabhupada Sadhu Sangha Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you all very much for attending. See you next week, I hope. And remember, you're going back home to Godhead. But be careful about Vaishnav aparad, the big heavy Vaishnav. But particularly the big ones, the big heavy acharyas, they are the gateway to the spiritual platform. So, no time for questions. Huh? Is that right? Ah, yes, I want to speak to you, Vrindavan Das. I'll come over there.